So, the first two nights of the New Japan G1 Climax 31 for 2021 is in the books. And going into the G1, I was feeling a little discouraged about how the lineup was, but these first two shows were pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't down on it. A lot of people were down on the lineup, and it just, I don't know. I expected it to deliver in ring, and it's delivering in ring.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we're missing some big names out of it that we had in previous years. We have Jay White is not in it, Suzuki is not in it, Will Ospreay is not in it. So those like three right there are three of the biggest ones who are not in it this year, and then we get some smaller replacements that we normally wouldn't have. But all in all, it actually ended up pretty decent. Yeah, I thought the first two nights were pretty good, and I'm curious how the rest of it goes. Except we have a massive bit of news coming out is that Tetsuya Naito blew out his knee and will be forfeiting the rest of his matches.
Yeah. I don't know. I think most of us expected that he would go far, and now everything is out the window, and they're imagine Goto has been scrambling to refigure everything, because, with a tournament like this, every result matters, and something like, a guy who's supposed to win a lot of matches suddenly forfeiting all of his matches is going to throw everything into disarray. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm curious how it's, I mean, they're scrambling to book the rest of it. Luckily, they had a 4 or 5 day gap between the last show and the next one, and the next one starts in what, like I don't know, 8 hours or so from now, something like that.
Yeah, well, maybe 10 hours,
maybe
10 and a half.
Yeah,
I think, because I was just looking at that.
Yeah. So coming up tomorrow morning is the next show. So at least they had a good amount of time, and it wasn't like the first show of a foursome that they were running.
Right, yeah.
So they had some time and could live with it for a few days while doing it. So, yeah, all in all, some pretty good matches, and we'll talk about them. We have two new young lions that are going to be probably making a lot more appearances, so we're going to get to acquaint ourselves with them. And we have showcasing his new evil side of the ledger, and using a new submission, which is a go-go plata, but he's calling it the snake bite.
Yeah,
you don't like it?
No, it's cool.
Okay.
It's a go-go plata.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into the review here, you're listening to the That's Wrestling podcast. If you're listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live over on Twitch and on YouTube. So you can follow the links in the show notes to those channels and subscribe to those. Also, I put it out on the Twitter at That's Wrestling 1 with the number 1 at the end. I still have not gotten a response from the guy who has That's Wrestling, who hasn't posted it in like years, so I don't think I'll ever be getting that handle. It's probably a dead one at this point. You can follow Trae at WrestleIsm on the Twitter. He wrote up a recap of the G1 night. Did you do night 2 as well?
I started it and didn't finish it.
Maybe
I'll go back and finish it.
He writes up some recaps once in a while. You can come hang out in our Discord as well. Link is in the show notes for that. And I haven't talked to him, but I'm guessing Daryl will be back for AEW tomorrow evening, roughly about the same time, 7 Eastern. So we'll be talking about AEW tomorrow. So let's get into this show. Night 1 of the G1 in Osaka, September 18th, 2021. We kick it off with Show, and I'm gonna butcher these names for a while. Ryohei.
Yeah.
Okay, I got that part.
Ryohei Oiwa.
Oiwa is really new. I think he just joined the dojo, they said, back in April, and he's like a natural at it.
Yeah. Again, this was his 5th match.
Yes. And we also have a new ref. I don't know if he's also a ref in training, but Taito, I think it was.
I don't remember. They said his name, and I don't remember.
I believe it was Taito. Was his
little tiny guy?
Yeah, he looks like Marty. So we Oiwa gets thrown into the barricade a bunch of times, and then Sho used this again in the following match. He does chops in the cadence of the 20 count out, which was funny. So every time a number is said, he chops the dude. Sho beats down Oiwa a bunch in the ring. Oiwa hits a massive drop kick to the face, shoulder tackle, body slam for a 2 count. Sho clotheslines Oiwa's head off. And then Sho uses his new snake bite submission, which, as I said, is the Gogo Plata.
Yeah, heel Sho is very entertaining to me, and when Oiwa had his little fire up spot, God damn, that was a hell of a drop kick.
Mm-hmm.
That was like an Okada-esque drop kick.
Oh yeah, and he got so much height. He like clipped him in the forehead. It was so high.
Yeah, Fujita the next day also did a dropkick, and his wasn't like nearly as nice. Oiwa, like, gorgeous dropkick.
I'm gonna have to.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the snake bite. I like Gogo Platas. I think they're a super cool submission. It's just a chore to get them on, so I'm not sure how well it's gonna work in a wrestling context because they take a while to get on, and usually. It's a slow maneuvering from the guard.
Hey, with the new gear and the Gogo Plata, you think Sho's been studying the Undertaker?
Maybe. Well, I mean, yeah.
Did we mention Sho no longer high energy? He is now murder machine.
Yep, and yeah. I like this new version of Sho.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm curious how it goes. Of course, Bullet Club's getting a little bloated at this point, so I am hoping we finally get that internal conflict that we've been waiting for. But with the pandemic, who knows? Because I've been waiting for the evil run faction and the Jay White run faction colliding, and we have a blow up of the Bullet Club. That's what I've been waiting for since Evil joined Bullet Club, pretty much.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Kota Ibushi versus Yujiro Takahashi. Yujiro starts it off with some strikes, and Ibushi comes back with a massive drop kick, and Ibushi then gets body dropped over the top, and Kota is thrown into the ring post. Peter distracts the ref so Yujiro can use his walking stick, and he continues to work over Ibushi inside the ring. Ibushi makes a comeback with a bunch of kicks, standing moonsault for a 2 count, and then hits a standing Rana, sending Yujiro to the outside. Yujiro blocks the golden triangle by yanking the feet off the turnbuckle, and Yujiro throws Ibushi into the barricade, hits a reverse DDT on the floor. Back in the ring, Yujiro hits the running boot, Fisherman Buster for 2. Yujiro hits an Olympic Slam for 2. And Ibushi hits a head kick, last ride powerbomb for 2. A couple counters from both guys. Yujiro moves out of the way of the Kamigoye. And basically, Ibushi is heading straight at the ref. So the ref cowers and turns his back, which gives Yujiro the ability to hit the low blow, and then he hits Pimp Juice, and he only gets a 2 count, and then Yujiro hits an elevated DDT, which they're calling Big Juice, and he pins the former G1 winner and the former, earlier this year, IWGP Heavyweight World Champion.
The 2-time defending G1 champion. And, yeah, so... 2 different, Yujiro has a new finisher that's an upgrade over the Pimp Juice, so that will be a useful weapon going forward. And Ibushi struggling to find his form after his illness.
Yeah, the big juice is basically a paradigm shift minus the double underhook.
Yeah.
So Takahashi starts off with 2 points and Ibushi with 0. Although I believe Ibushi has started off the last 2 G1s with 0 points as well. Did he drop the first? Yeah. Next up, we have a new entrant two new entrants into the G1. We have Tanga Loa versus Great-O-Khan. Jado is at ringside for Tanga Loa. I actually really like this match.
Yeah, me too.
They step in the middle and they just trash talk each other, and then they lock up. They run into each other a few times until Tanga Loa is the one that goes down. Tanga Loa goes outside to confer with Jado. Back in the ring, Tanga Loa spears Khan and then hits some mounted strikes. Hits a body slam and a leg drop for a 2. Khan gets beat on by Jado behind the ref's back as Tanga Loa distracts him. Tanga Loa pushes Khan into the edge of the ring, hits a suplex on the floor. Tanga Loa attacks the arm with some stomps, hits a spine buster for a 2, and then he starts taunting Great-O-Khan, and he yells, "I expected more from you. Great? You are not. Great-O-Khan, show me." And Khan blocks a suplex, hits a gourd buster, and Khan with some Mongolian chops and then some regular chops. And Tanga Loa gets caught in the Tree of Woe, and Khan hits a sliding drop kick to the face, and then a face-first suplex for 2. They exchange some strikes. Tanga Loa distracts the ref, and Jado hits Khan in the back with the kendo stick. Tanga Loa puts on Operation Jado Killer, which is basically a label lock. And Khan gets to the ropes, and Tanga Loa hits a few strikes in the corner. This was really cool. He hit like a delayed Blue Thunder Bomb.
Yeah.
Do you remember that spot?
Kinda.
It was just kind of like he picked him up, and then he like held him, and then went into the spin and Thunderbomb, the Blue Thunderbomb. So that was pretty cool. Got a 2 count out of that. Tanga Loa starts hitting some Mongolian chops of his own. Khan picks up Tanga Loa. Jado runs in, but Khan swings Tanga Loa's legs into Jado. Tanga Loa avoids the Eliminator, hits a powerbomb for 2. They fight for position, but the Great-O-Khan then hits the Eliminator and gets the win. So Great-O-Khan wins his first G1 match, getting 2 points out of it here, and Tanga Loa loses his first G1 match.
Yeah, this was fun. I mean, interesting seeing O'Khan as a de facto babyface, but it worked. It was a very fun match.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. That was kind of funny. Then we move on to Toru Yano versus Kenta. Dave Meltzer shit all over this match, and he hated it. I love this match.
It was what I expected.
I thought it was just the right amount of funny. Yano is back to his normal happy-go-lucky self with the mile-long entrance, the mile-long announcement. So Kenta stopped the ring announcer, and he gave the ring announcer a giant printout of what to say, which the translate Chris Charlton was slow in the translation, but basically he was saying these are a bunch of accolades that Kenta never did. There's a bunch of made-up stuff.
Yeah.
So Kenta wants Yano checked out thoroughly. The ref finds a roll of tape behind one of his knees, and then the ref finds a roll of tape in Kenta's trunks as well. We get classic Kenta. He powders as soon as the bell rings and rolls outside. They argue about getting Kenta back into the ring. He wants Yano to step back, even though he's on the opposite side of the ring against the ropes on the opposite side. Yano jumps out of the ring. Kenta jumps in. Yano jumps in. Kenta jumps out. And they go back and forth a little bit. And then Yano starts walking up the ramp But he decides to answer the 20 count anyways. Kenta starts stomping on him. They mirror each other's moves. Kenta does the rope grab. Kenta rolls to the outside, grabs Yano's bottle of alcohol spray or sanitizer, sprays Yano in the face with it. They fight up the ramp, and last year, Kenta won his match by taping Yano to the entrance scaffolding. So Kenta tries to do it again. He had some rolls of tape stashed in the scaffolding. And Yano throws the first one into the crowd, and then Kenta finds another roll of tape, tapes Yano's hands to the entrance, runs back to the ring, and has the ref start counting. Yano manages to free himself, so no repeat for Kenta like last year. Yano removes the turnbuckle pad, catapults Kenta into the exposed corner. Yano is sent into that same corner, and then Kenta hits a basement drop kick and then a double stomp off the top, but Yano kicks out. Yano escapes a GTS and then they pull each other's hair a bit. Yano reverses a whip, sends Kenta into the barricade on the outside. Yano gets some tape from under the ring. The ref takes it away. Kenta pushes Yano into the ref. Kenta grabs the roll of tape himself and tapes Yano's wrists together, and then throws Yano under the ring and throws the ref back into the ring and helps the ref to his feet. He's like holding him up so he can start counting. Yano pops up out of the other side of the ring, sneak attacks Kenta with a low blow while he and the ref were looking in the opposite direction, and then gets a cradle on Kenta, and Yano picks up the victory over Kenta here, getting revenge for last year.
Yeah, so if you saw the match last year, this is like the sequel where they do basically the same thing, but they just kind of change the order of events around a little bit. That was this match. The Yano won with the cradle, and the hold was listed as whole roasted Kenta.
It's funny. There's some pretty funny ones that happened. Actually, what they put down for the finish of the next match was pretty funny. So next up we had Tetsuya Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, these two can't really have a bad match against each other. These two have been in each other's hair quite a lot this year over the tag titles. So Naito wants to start with a test of strength. Zack Sabre Jr. mocks Naito's tranquilo pose on the mat. They lock up, go into a bunch of submission wrestling, into some chain wrestling. Zack Sabre Jr. hits a very uncharacteristic drop kick to the back of the head of a sitting Naito. He hits a few strikes, back and forth they go, then back to submission and chain wrestling. Naito gets free, hits the combination, and gets a crucifix. The crucifix submission it's more of a stretch, because I don't think he's actually ever submitted anybody with it. Zack Sabre Jr. comes back with an ankle pick and a penalty kick, and Zack continues to maintain control, even though Naito will get in a shot here or there, but Zack cuts him off quickly. Zack hits a dragon suplex for 2. They jockey for position. Naito hits a swinging DDT to start to turn things around, hits some hard elbows, hits Esperanza, and he runs in for the Destino, but Zack drop kicks the knee and grabs onto a knee bar. Naito makes it to the ropes. Zack starts attacking the knee, and just as Zack goes for a knee bar, Naito hits a massive DDT, but Zack finds an opening and hits a sunset bomb off the top rope. Zack gives a few free shots to Naito and then slams the knee again. And then out of nowhere, Naito hits a desperation Destino and they double down. When they get to their feet, they start exchanging strikes. Naito does his pull-in elbows. Zack ducks one of them and hits a dragon suplex, then a swinging DDT. Naito blocks the Zack driver and hits Valencia. And then we get a Euro clutch from Zack for a close 2 count just before the 25-minute call. Zack hits a double stomp to the leg. Naito hits a reverse DDT out of a Zack driver attempt. Zack blocks another Destino and ties Naito up as a pretzel, and Naito taps out right at the 3-minute warning. And the official finish of official name of this hold was, "Yes, I am a long way from home."
Yeah, Zack always has wacky names for his submission holds. I like orienteering with napalm death.
Yes.
Yeah, this match, like you said, these two can't have a bad match. This match always rules. These guys are wrestling soulmates. Beautiful match, and it sucks about Naito's knee.
Yeah, I'm curious where it happened. Because there were a lot of shots. It might even, heck, you never know. It might have been the other knee that he blew out. You never know. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
According to Zack Sabre Jr., 1 down, 8 more dickheads to go.
Yes.
And then we go into an awesome match: Tomohiro Ishii versus Shingo Takagi. Like these are the two guys that you want to see a match against, like, all the time, because they're just so good. And even though I noticed this, even though Ishii is a champion, he didn't bring the belt out with him.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he forgot. Or
remember when Kenny Omega did that once? He forgot the U.S. Championship belt, and he said in the camera, "Oh shit, I forgot my belt."
Yeah, I remember the time in was that the time in Ring of Honor that, like, somebody from the office had the belt and just forgot to bring it?
No, this was definitely a New Japan show when he did that.
Okay. Well, there was another time Omega actually defended the title against Yoshi-Hashi on a Ring of Honor show.
Oh,
and he did not have the belt because somebody from the New Japan office had it and was supposed to bring it and forgot it.
So right out of the gate, they run at each other and throw 30 forearms apiece, at least. And then finally, Shingo knocks down Ishii with a shoulder tackle. Shingo throws Ishii to the outside so he can run him into the edge of the apron in the barricade. Shingo gets thrown into the barricade and is power slammed on the floor. They trade a ton of strikes in the ring again. Shingo goes down down from a chop. More strikes. Ishii just steps right into him. Steps into the strikes. They continue striking the shit out of each other. Shingo eventually hits a DDT to slow down Ishii, and who was getting the best of the striking exchanges at that point. Shingo hits some impact moves when Ishii is sick of that. Ishii just wants Shingo to hit him, and then Ishii just beats down Shingo with some strikes. Shingo starts to power through the strikes, drops Ishii. They jostle for position, trading impact moves. They fight up top. Shingo hits a superplex for 2. Back to strikes. Ishii wants to hit a superplex of his own, but he does not have the strength in his arm, and he basically just, like, drops Shingo. This is obviously like a botch that Ishii couldn't lift him up. But basically, Ishii is such a good seller. He immediately started selling his arm, like, and started, like, slapping his arm to get, like, blood flow into his arm, pretending, like, oh man, my arm is killing me. So he just wills his way through it, and then does hit a superplex. Massive lariat from Shingo. Ishii removes the compression brace on his arm. At this point, Ishii's hand is like twice the size of what it normally is. It's swollen up so much. Back to forearm exchanges. Shingo counters a strike right into a Made in Japan for a 2 count at the 20-minute call. Then we get massive shots from both guys. Shingo was I wrote Shingo was so hard on the crowd. Oh, Shingo hit so hard that the crowd, who is not allowed to make vocal noise, couldn't hold back, and everybody let out a collective, oh! Ishii turns a Last of the Dragon attempt into a crucifix bomb for 2. Massive collisions from both guys. Shingo collapses right onto Red Shoes. This doesn't play into anything, though. Ishii with a power bomb and with a stack for a 2 count, sliding lariat for a 2 count. Shingo escapes the vertical drop brainbuster, hits a pop-up Death Valley driver. Ishii avoids Last of the Dragon and hits a dragon suplex of his own. Ishii runs over Shingo just after the 25-minute call for a 2 count. Shingo comes back with a dragon suplex, sliding forearm, hits a pumping bomber again, gets a vocal crowd response because it was so loud. The acoustics in this place are insane. Like, the chops are like some of the loudest hard-hitting ones that I've ever heard. And even Kevin Kelly was mentioning that they sound like gunshots going off. Plus, the crowd also made vocal noise at the kickout after the pumping bomber. Massive strikes and headbutts are exchanged. Shingo crouches and picks up Ishii, hits Last of the Dragon, and gets the victory. And these two, I love when they do this. They're both exhausted, and even though the match is over, it was comical because Ishii's throwing hands a little bit and trying to like slap Shingo. So Shingo kind of gets like up on his knee and does like an elbow drop on Ishii. Yes. It was so funny. It was great.
It was. But man, nobody sells like Tomohiro Ishii. He is incredible. The way that he's stumbling to the back. The announcers say he's going the wrong way. He's just so out of it, and he's just stumbling and like trying to hold on to the guardrails and pulling guardrails over,
and collapses before he gets to the exit.
Yeah, man, just got nobody sells a beating like Ishii.
After the match, Shingo grabs the mic and he is panting, so he says, "Give me a minute." And then he says, "It's that time of the year again, the toughest tournament in wrestling, and it's gotten off to a hell of a start." And talk going around is that the IWGP champ can't win. Don't tell Shingo Takagi that. 2 have done it, and then this time I'm going to add my name to that list. And I will represent the IWGP Championship to the very end and roar and take off flight like a dragon.
Yeah, and he pointed out during the post-match comments that he won tonight and Ibushi and Naito both lost. And it just furthers the idea that Shingo has been establishing himself as the strongest wrestler in New Japan. So,
I mean, of this block, at this point, Shingo and Ibushi are the only ones I can see winning the block. Now that Naito's gone.
I think I could see Zack as like an outside choice, especially now that Naito's out. But like I am a fan of the idea of Takagi winning the whole thing. Now, the problem with that would be then you're going to have to do something else. 3 Wrestle Kingdom main events. So, but I don't know. I like the idea of fucking going all the way with Shingo and just really, really. I think it would be a good thing to really push home that Shingo is the guy.
Yes. I mean, it would make sense if he won, because then you have Will Ospreay running around with the other championship belt and claiming that he's the true champion, and that's the match you have at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I think everybody in the world expects that match at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
But there are also 3 Wrestle Kingdoms.
Yeah. But I mean, that's how you would get there if you had Shingo win the G1 and then Will Ospreay is already sitting there claiming that he's the rightful champion. So,
yeah.
Then we have Night 2, also in Osaka, September 19th, 2021. And we get a look at Kosei Fujita. I believe I said that right.
Yeah.
Sho chops Fujita again at the cadence of the 20 count on the outside. He smothers him with the turnbuckle covering, the covering that they wrap around the actual turnbuckle part, not the corner pad, the actual turnbuckle flap. Sho no-sells a ton of strikes. Fujita hits a drop kick and some mounted strikes, hits another drop kick. Sho takes a bunch of forearms and then just drops Fujita with one shot. I want to say fajita because that's what it looks like. He then hits 3 deadlift Germans. Sho puts on the snake bite. Ref has to stop the match.
Yeah, that is what happened.
Second Young Lion class in a row that has very promising prospects here.
Yeah. Well, New Japan Dojo doesn't miss very much.
Then we have the opening match in the G1 block for Block B, and it is Evil. If this is how it's going to start, it better change quickly, because I don't want to see 9 more of these. Or 8 more.
This match sucked dick Togo.
Back and forth, Dick Togo distracts, Evil attacks. Evil knocks over the timekeeper, corner pad gets removed, Togo throws Yoshi-Hashi into the barricade behind the ref's back. Evil hits a Fisherman Buster for 2. Yoshi-Hashi fires back with a Headhunter, and he starts to make a comeback. Dick attacks Yoshi-Hashi again. Evil knocks over the timekeeper again, and then part of the TV crew table. Yoshi-Hashi answers the 20 count. Evil hits Darkness Falls for 2. Yoshi-Hashi avoids Everything is Evil a couple of times. Gets whipped into the exposed corner. But he powers out, hits a massive lariat for a double down. Shots back and forth. Yoshi-Hashi hits a super kick. Yoshi-Hashi avoids Everything is Evil once again. Gets on the butterfly lock. Yoshi-Hashi puts on a sleeper to bring Evil back to the middle. Hits a backstabber. Puts on the butterfly lock again. Evil grabs the ref. Dick Togo comes in. Yoshi-Hashi sends him packing. They reverse each other a bunch. Yoshi-Hashi hits a pump handle backbreaker. Dragon suplex. Lariat. Kumigaroshi, but only gets a 2 count. Yoshi-Hashi goes for Karma. Evil pushes him towards the ropes, blocks a low blow from Evil. I'm like, oh, thank God. Evil rakes the eyes, hits a lariat to another double down. Yoshi-Hashi gets a roll-up, but Dick Togo jumps up onto the edge of the ring, so the ref is dealing with him. Evil gets out, low blow, Everything is Evil, and it's over.
Yeah,
we have seen this finish like 40 times in the past year.
Yoshi-Hashi is my boy and all, but I am, like I said, more than a year over this bullshit.
So, Evil gets 2 points, Yoshi-Hashi 0, and I don't want to talk about this match anymore.
Me neither.
But, on the fun side, Jeff Cobb versus Chase Owens. Chase, I love Chase's mannerisms and his poor choices that he makes during matches. That just makes it entertaining because things always go wrong because he makes horrible choices. And the first thing he does is make the horrible choice of running in right as the bell rings and gets knocked down twice by Cobb. So Chase cowers in the ropes a few times. So Cobb, he's getting pushed back by the ref. Chase takes advantage of this and drop kicks him in the knee. Chase then eats a belly-to-belly suplex on the floor. Cobb beats Chase down in the ring with strikes. Cobb tosses Chase around a bit. Back suplex for 2. Chase hits a enziguri and a drop kick to the outside. And then a missile drop kick off the top back in the ring. He hits a pull-in clothesline for a 2 count. Cobb fights out of the package pile driver. Hits a standing drop kick. Chase hits the flatliner into the corner. Hits a V-trigger. But Cobb comes back with a suplex, power slam, standing moonsault for a 2 count, and then Chase comes back with a V-trigger, hits the jewel heist, only gets a 2 count. They exchange kicks. Cobb hits a thrust kick, and then hits Tour of the Islands, gets the win. I thought this was a fun little match.
Yeah, very fun. Chase could only get anything going when he could, get from a distance. Anytime he got in close, anytime Cobb got his hands on him, Cobb had it all his own way. And I think Cobb's going to go through a tear in this G1, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Yes, should be a good one. So Cobb 2 points, Owens with 0 here. We go on to another good match with Tama Tonga versus Sanada. Because Tama Tonga is just entertaining as hell because he talks throughout the entire match, which just makes it that much better. And I can understand what he's saying because he speaks in English. Tama Tonga offers a handshake. He's doing the good bad guy kind of shtick a little bit, and Sanada kind of just bends at the elbow to bring up his hand parallel to the ground. And Tama Tonga just goes in and grabs it and hey, and shakes it, and then yanks Sanada into a headlock. They start with some chain wrestling. Jado is on the outside. He grabs Sanada's leg. Sanada moves out of the way, though, and Tama crashes into Jado. Tama gets serious and takes his shirt off, and the announcers make the commentary makes a big deal of it. It's like, why does this guy wear a shirt? The guy's jacked. Tama plays some games with cheering from the crowd, so he attacks Sanada from behind when Sanada gets up onto the turnbuckle. On the outside, Tama slams Sanada into the edge of the ring, into the post, hits a snap suplex on the floor. We get some cross-face forearm strikes from Tama, and he slows things down a bit. We get a bunch of strikes from Tama Tonga. Sanada hits a drop kick to the knee that the camera totally missed. And they cut to a camera that was facing up at the ceiling. It's oh, that is not the right camera to go to. He starts to make a comeback with an arm drag and a backbreaker, crossbody to the floor. Tama then gives so Sanada does a crossbody to the floor on Tama, runs into the ring and gives one to Jado as well on a adjacent side of the ring. Tama with a splash in the corner hits a power slam for 2. They counter each other a bunch of times. Sanada hits a moonsault press into the skull end. Sanada blocks a Tongan twist counter. We get a bunch more counters from these two. Sanada hits a magic screw, and Sanada hits 3 uppercuts and the TKO for a 2 count. Tama Tonga escapes skull end and hits a double underhit pile driver for a 2 count. Sanada catches Tama's gun stun attempt and goes right into skull end with the hooks on the ground. And like usual, Sanada let it go to go for the moonsault. Tama got his knees up and tries a roll-up 2 count. Counters from both guys until Sanada does the Okada roll into the Japanese clutch and gets the flash pin and picks up his 2 points to start off the G1.
Yeah, this was good. I think people kind of forget how good Tama Tonga is. And Sanada is just phenomenal, and fucking it. When Sanada was able to increase the pace, Tonga was able to keep up with him. Yes, and this was very good.
Yeah, I mean, some of these matches that we saw started to make my my heart warm a little bit. Be like, oh, thank God, this G1 is not going to be a total loss. I mean, I'm gonna have to watch 8 more Evil matches, but other than that, I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Hiroki Goto versus Taichi. We will see what kind of Taichi we get through the rest of the G1. So far, I'm hoping this isn't the Taichi that we're going to see, because last year he got very repetitive with his stuff, and I'm hoping this year he does not.
Yeah.
So Taichi pisses Goto off by pushing the tag title belt into his face. Before the bell, they fight to the outside. Goto gets sent in the ring post. Taichi uses the camera cable to choke Goto. But Goto ends up grabbing the cable and choking Taichi, so he gets a taste of his own medicine. Goto beats up on Taichi a bit. Back to the outside, Taichi throws Goto into the barricade, and then he does choke Goto with the cables. The ref isn't doing shit at this point. He's just watching it happen, not even counting, and he gets pushed away by Taichi, and nothing happens. Yeah. What sport can you put your hands on the ref on purpose and you're fine?
Pro wrestling.
Taichi chokes him on the barricade, and Red Shoes gets super distracted. He stops counting every time while the infraction is still going on because Taichi lets his hands go, but he's choking him with his foot. So it's like, pay attention to where the choke is happening. Taichi hits some kicks to the chest, one-handed choke over and over. Then they start choking each other. Taichi hits some kicks. Goto hits the Ushigoroshi. They exchange strikes. They clothesline each other a bunch of times until Goto drops Taichi. Taichi hits a head kick and a choke slam for a 2 count. They counter each other. Goto hits a Shoten Kai. Taichi barely rolls the shoulder over for the 2 count. Taichi hits a super high angle Saito suplex and then hits a head kick, then another. We counters from both guys. Goto hits a headbutt and drops Taichi. Goto hits a kick to the chest. And then Taichi hits I'm not sure what kind of slam it was, but it was a slam of some kind for a 2 count. Goto catches a thrust kick, but Taichi hits him with a running back elbow, hits Black Mephisto, and Taichi gets the win here, picking up his 2 points to start it off.
Yeah, this was quite good. Like Taichi has turned into a Holy Demon Army tribute act. He's always done the Kawada spots, the stretch plum, and the backdrop and Gamangiri, and then now he's using various Nodoa Otoshi, and he's using the Oregatawe, which I guess it's Oregataichi now, and this was a very exciting brawl.
And then we go on to a match that we haven't seen in over 2 years, and that is Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kazuchika Okada.
And I was at their last match.
Oh, you were at their last match? Because, it was at the G1.
Yeah, it was in
Dallas.
Yeah, it was in Dallas.
So first singles match in like 900 plus days. Lots of mat wrestling to start off and some chain sequences, and that went on until the 10-minute call. So I wrote 2 sentences for the first 10 minutes of the match. Because that's what it was. Lots of mat wrestling, lots of chain sequences. And
they worked several minutes around a side headlock.
Yes.
And it was glorious.
It was great. I'm not complaining. It was wonderful. There's just no need to talk about every transition that they made. Tanahashi starts going after the knee with strikes, drop kicks, dragon screws. They fight on the outside. Okada hits the DDT on the floor. And then back in the ring, he hits the single leg flapjack, and the backpack neck breaker. He gives Tanahashi a drop kick, knocking Tanahashi off the top turnbuckle to the floor. And then into the barricade he goes, but Tanahashi catches the running boot from Okada and gives Okada a dragon screw on the outside. They fight on the apron. Tanahashi gives Okada a dragon screw in the ropes and then hits an aces high off the top to the floor just before the 20-minute call. Tanahashi hits 3 twist and shouts, then a sling blade for a 2 count. He goes up top for aces high. Okada rolls through it and into the money clip, which Tanahashi had not seen before, but he does power out. Neckbreaker back into the money clip. Tanahashi gets a burst of energy to get to the ropes. They fight over a tombstone until Okada finally gets it and hits the twisting tombstone. Tanahashi ducks a Rainmaker, goes for a sunset flip, but Okada sits down into it for a close near fall. Okada hits a shotgun drop kick right before the 25-minute call, and Okada hits a body slam, goes up top, hits a flying elbow, and then calls for the Rainmaker. Tanahashi ducks and hits a sling blade, and then another. Tanahashi goes up top. Okada gets his knees up, though, so he crashes on the high fly flow. They're both down. 3 minutes remain. Okada hits a pull-in clothesline, and then another. Tanahashi turns a Rainmaker attempt into an inside cradle for a 2 count. He hits a German suplex. 2 minutes left. Hits a dragon suplex for only a 1 count. And then they just start throwing bombs and forearms over and over and over until the 1 minute remains. Okada hits a drop kick. He hits a Falcon Arrow and then hits the Rainmaker. And Okada gets the pin at 29:36 and gets his 2 points over Tanahashi.
Yep, another chapter in one of the greatest rivalries of all time. And this was phenomenal, and hopefully this means the Rainmaker is back.
Yes, and it was one Rainmaker in this match that ended it.
Yeah. It fucks me up that Okada and I are the same age, and he's like an all-time legend, and I'm this.
And I'm almost 6 years older than both of you. It's like, oh yeah, man, I feel really old. Yeah, so this is a really good match. 29 minutes 36 seconds, and yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Okada hit a Falcon Arrow.
No.
But he did.
New stuff all the time.
After the match, Okada grabs the mic and says only one match in this long league. I'm guessing that was a strange translation. Tournament, I'm guessing he meant. But
well, when it's typically in Japan, like a round robin tournament, they usually refer to as a league.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was a translation at Chris Charlton. Yeah, obviously there aren't direct translations to a lot of words, or multiple translations. Anyways, only one match into the long league, but to do it in Osaka, it meant a lot, and that wasn't the Okada we've been seeing in recent months. This was the return of the Rainmaker. This world is still struggling, and as long as the Rainmaker is here at the forefront of New Japan, we'll bring light to this planet. We've only just begun the first of the Rainmaker, the fire of the G1 this autumn. We're bringing the heat, and I'm going to make sure it rains throughout the fall.
Indeed, good. New Japan needs some rain. It's been severely lacking lately.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is definitely, like, these two shows combined are probably the highlight of New Japan in the past 3 months.
Yeah?
I don't think there's been a better show.
No, from, like, top to bottom, yeah. I don't know, trying to think which... There was one of the Wrestle Grand Slam shows that I thought was really good. But, yeah, this was a... Great. It's the G1, man. It's time. It's that time of year.
I'm glad they're keeping the format of one undercard match, then into the block matches. None of this, like, 5 undercard matches and then block matches.
Yeah, it's better. And the shows in Tokyo they're still 5-match cards, so it's just going to be just the tournament matches.
Well, yeah, I mean, you also got the Naito is forfeiting his matches, so
right.
So there might be an undercard and then 4 matches.
Yeah.
For those blocks, for the A blocks.
Yeah, on the the A block nights, the Naito's opponents are going to be in a variety of special singles matches, which I know the only one I remember offhand because it made me the most excited was Ishii and Hiromu later on. I think the one tonight is going to be Tanga Loa versus Yuji Nagata.
Yes. So yeah, actually, you're right. There's only 5 matches on the card tomorrow, or in the morning, and then it looks like again 5 matches. So yeah, maybe they aren't going to do a undercard match or anything like that. Although when they move to Kobe, it looks like Fujita will be taking on Master Wato on that, and then I'm guessing they come back to Hurricane, and they're back to 5 match cards again. So
yeah, I think there's still like a curfew in Tokyo.
Oh yeah. Yep. 5 match the next night too. Yujiro taking on Bushi for a specials match. So, I'm glad these shows are gonna be like once you move through like the opening introductions and then you zip through the intermission in the middle. It's like a 2-hour show.
Yeah,
very happy about that. And then we get to watch some more fun wrestling in about 8 minutes from now. The AEW show at Arthur Ashe starts, and that is going to be a banger. They opened up a bunch more tickets. There's going to be like 20,000 people in attendance, so it's going to be pretty crazy.
Really very strongly feels like the biggest Dynamite of all time. And
yeah, and they're talking about possibly making this an annual thing as well.
Hey, yeah, I am into that.
Yeah. Anything you want to touch on before we wrap it up here?
No, not really. Just let's take it home. We got a big Dynamite to watch.
Yeah, and let's hope they keep this momentum through the rest of the G1, and we have a good G1. It's already started off better than last year's G1, so I'm happy. Last year's was okay. I'm hoping this year's is better, because better is always better. So thanks everybody for watching and listening. If you are listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live over on Twitch and on YouTube, so you can follow the links in the show notes to those channels. Also follow us on Twitter at That's Wrestling 1, and I post the link to the direct link to the YouTube video over there as well. Before we go live, be sure to tune in for our AEW coverage as well, usually Thursday and Saturday evenings after Dynamite and Rampage, and then of course the following day after pay-per-views and all that fun stuff. And what else? Follow Trae at WrestleIsm on the Twitter as well, and you can read his recaps when he writes them. They're good, insightful, and very in-depth, so good times there. So, thanks everybody for listening. For Trae, my name's Eric. You've been watching and listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.
Bye.